Hey everyone, Road to Boston Day 16 is here. I'm Coach Kyle of Freedom Running Club, and today we're going to be talking about some cool, fun things that you might want to actually plan for after your race, after you've done running the Boston Marathon, because Boston is just one of those amazing cities that's got such rich history, but also cool, fun, more modern things that you can experience. And if you're not flying out immediately on Monday, which last year I had to get back for something, and I saw people actually going right from the race with their marathon medals onto it. But this year I'm going to stick around for a day and experience some of these things after the fact. I really recommend it if it works for your travel plans. Obviously, you've probably already planned these things out, but if you're going to be there afterwards, and again, I stress afterwards, don't be sightseeing before your race. Go out and make sure you can do everything that you can in that race from your actual training. But afterwards, there's 6 general things that I would recommend checking out based on your interests. So first and foremost, for myself, I love the Boston Red Sox. They're my favorite baseball team, and they are always in town for marathon weekend. So they're always going to have a very early day game. I think it first pitch is at like 11 o'clock a.m. It's the only a.m. start in Major League Baseball each year for the Boston Marathon. You run very close to Fenway Park in it. And it's generally the idea of it ends right around the time that the marathon is ending. So they're actually going to be playing the Yankees, their big rival, on Tuesday. I was able to go to a game before it last year. I'll show some videos of that up on the screen, which they won, I believe, in a walk-off last year. So if you're a baseball fan, if you've never been to Fenway Park, it's the oldest stadium in Major League Baseball. I definitely recommend checking it out. And again, they're not just in town for before, but they're going to be for a series for the Yankees afterwards. So definitely check that out if you have the ability to. Like I said, history-rich city. I showed in a previous video, and I'll show some of the statues here that you can walk by. I recommend this as places you could do some of your recovery runs in the days leading up to it. But Boston Common, Beacon Hill, Commonwealth Avenue, there's just such rich history in this area that you can see all of these things. You've probably seen pictures of these things before, and you can actually experience it by walking through these different areas. Again, Commonwealth Avenue has a ton of statues like George Washington, Alexander Hamilton. There's a ton of them that you can actually check out and read some of the history of these people. Boston Commons and Beacon Hill kind of speak for themselves, these huge monuments that are there and the history that happened. And there's obviously history tours that you can search up and see if there's any specific ones. I think the Freedom Walk or Freedom Trail is a really popular one, but definitely check these things out. And obviously, if you book one of these tours, there's some costs associated with it, but those other places I mentioned, just go and check them out and see what it's like. Another thing that's totally free to do, I mentioned running along the Charles River as one of your shakeouts, and typically the cherry blossoms are blooming this time of year. Just take a walk down that area. You might want to do a little walk the day after your race if you've run the race itself. Just check that out. It's super, super cool, really well done, great walking paths as well as the running, like I said. And with those cherry blossoms in bloom, it's definitely a sight to see if you haven't seen those before. So really, really cool. I recommend that. And again, a totally free situation. All you got to do is get there. Couple other places. This year, I'm definitely going to try to check out the aquarium. I remember checking that out when I was a kid years and years and years ago. And it's supposed to be one of the best aquariums in the world. I know they have some cool shows and animal interactions that you can be a part of, but it's supposed to be still, and it was when I remember seeing this years and years ago, one of the best aquariums in the area. So if you're a fan of animals, it's right there in that North End area, which the area around the Boston Commons in the North End is typically what I think people think of when they think of Boston, in that kind of like wharfy looking area. Really cool thing. I think they're open from like 10. They open up at 10 in the morning. So I'm going to check that out the day after the race before going to that baseball game I mentioned. Also in that North End, a couple areas in terms of shopping that I think are pretty cool that you might want to just watch. I'm not a big shopper myself, but you might want to just go and check it out, and it's a really cool area. Quincy Market in that North End. Not only are there things that you can shop for, but it's this big building where there's just rows and rows of different food. If you're a fan of seafood, just tons of options there. It's obviously something Boston is known for. If you're like a lobster roll fan, I saw a ton of different stands for that there. Check out Quincy Market in that North End. And if you're going to go to the aquarium, it's very close. They're very close in proximity. One area that I'm hoping to check out this time, that's apparently a fairly new area in terms of more built up, high-end shopping, really just a nice area. It sounds like it reminds me, if you're from the Tampa area, like a Hyde Park kind of area, and that's the Seaport District in the south part of Boston. So apparently it's an area that they've really reinvigorated as of recent. and it's supposed to be one of the upscale areas of Boston. So that's something that I've checked out the first 5 that I mentioned. I've not checked out the Seaport District in South Boston, something I definitely want to try to check out this time. So some of those areas that you can explore in the city after your race, you've run your PR or hit whatever your goal is that you're looking to get in the Boston Marathon, and you need to get some steps in just to get your legs moving so you're not super tight if you're going to be there for Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, however long your travel plans are. So those are some of those areas that you can check out, and I definitely recommend, if any of those things really strike your fancy, I would take that time if you're going to be spending another day in Boston. Check out those areas. Super, super cool. I don't think you'll be disappointed if you're going to any of them.